I was mentioning earlier, first of all, Twin Falls is not very old, and this part of the country was settled even by Western standards somewhat late because of the dryness of the area. But once business really got rolling in Twin Falls, people needed a place to eat, and so was a restaurant that opened. Well, it's on the south end of town now. I suppose when it opened, it was in the center of town. Bill Colley with you this morning on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX at newsradio1310.com. The first place I ever got a bite to eat in Twin Falls when I actually stepped out and decided I could take a breather after getting my things unpacked when I moved here was the Depot Grill. And I'll never forget, I was having a lunch there one day with a fellow who works as the press man for City Hall. And he was explaining to me, he said, when I was working in the newspaper business, he said, I used to come here late at night, and he said, I did most of my work here because he said, if you want to know what's going on around town, you come in here and you sit at the coffee counter. We're joined by the current owner of the Depot Grill, Steve Saran. First of all, welcome to our program.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. It's awful nice of you to bring me over here. It's so far away,
Yeah.
2 blocks. But I didn't realize you'd been a former cutter. Your first restaurant meal in Twin was that way. But I know a lot of the same Depot Grill people over the years have told me so many stories. And I think that's what this year being our 100th year, we're going to celebrate. We think we're 100. We're not real sure because once you get to a certain age, your memory gets a little foggy. And the way it was told to me from the old timers, the passed down type stories, was that the Depot Grill was built in 1910, and then it became a bottling company, and the Benoit family moved the bottling company over onto 2nd Avenue about 1916. It became a gas station, and the gas station was called the Depot Service because the train depot was right there. And the wife of the owner started making some sandwiches, and evidently, the food business turned out to be way better than the gas business. So it's about 100. We're guessing it's about 100. Could be 105, 106. We don't really know.
In those early days, though, when people were doing this, because so many people were passing through this part of the country, going one place or another, settling or just on the move, really these places along the roadsides ended up doing gasoline and meals, and there were so many other things that they got involved with because somebody who'd just been driving for 300 miles needed to stock up on more than just gas.
Well, you're exactly right. And the Depot Grill was ideally located for that because they had the Feed and Ice building right there next to the north, where people would have to come get their block of ice once a week for refrigeration. The train depot was just to the south of the Depot Grill. Everybody traveled by train. There used to be a Galloping Goose, they called it, that ran from Salt Lake to Twin Falls every day. It was a main transportation, and it was also right on the highway. That was their main highway. Highway 30 ran through there. That was the truck route. So it was a very good location for that type of an operation to spring up.
Now, when I go by at 5 o'clock in the morning on my way to work, I notice there's always a crowd there. I mean, and Josh from City Hall, when he referenced the fact that he'd go in there late at night and sit down and have dinner and pick up what was going on around town, it seems that for 24 hours a day, I mean, this is the center of that, really the center of the community, because being here so long, it's where people have gone and done it for a long time. But the notion of keeping a restaurant open 24 hours a day when it first started must have seemed probably a little unique to people. But does that go back to all of those travelers too?
It has to, Bill. There's really not enough folks out and about in Twin Falls at night to justify staying open 24 hours a day. It's kind of a preference of ours as being the owner, and we've always done it that way, and people always know we're going to be there. So it's not financially smart, but I think it offers a good place for the community to gather. And like I say, over the years, now the area is starting to develop back down there again. That's a wonderful thing with what Wills has done in Glanbia, and got the climbing center coming in right there across the street from us. So it's very nice to see the old warehouse district start to make a little comeback.
I was in there one Sunday after church, and about 50 reservists came in to grab their lunch, and then someone was telling me, I think the waitress was telling me, they come in every few weeks, and of course, if you feel like you're in the safest place in town when that happens too, as well. Nobody's going to give you a lot of trouble when a bunch of guys are sitting around a camo.
Well, yeah, we have the sheriff's department, some of the Twin Falls City Police guys hang out in there too from time to time, and we encourage them. They're one of the few people we don't mind if we see a gun on their hip coming in, trust me.
It's called 100 Days to 100 Years, so you're in the countdown phase now.
Yeah, we kind of figured that November 8th is the date that we picked for our anniversary, and that was simply because my father and his brother bought the place in 1959 on the 1st of November. So close to my birthday, I thought that'd be a great time to have an anniversary. So we've been celebrating this now for a long time on the November period, and we will start, of course, the August 2nd. We're going to start. We're going to have a drawing each month. For first month, we're going to give away $105 bills, and the second month, $105 bills, and the third month, $110 bills, just as a little way to thank the Magic Valley for all the continued support we've had for so many years.
I was coming down Route 80 in western Wyoming one time, and I got off the highway exit, and I was in a hurry, so I wanted a place just to grab lunch quietly and then get on the road again. And I walked into a restaurant, and I tell you what, it's almost a carbon copy of the Depot Grill. So I think that the design, um, this is the type of design that is built for that sort of friendly, sort of a home cook style meal that you get. And but you've gone through numerous expansions and the like. It's not really exactly the same original. Part of it may be very early, but you've had to expand simply because of demand.
14 different times my family and myself have added on to the thing. And unfortunately, each one of them's been an afterthought. Oh, we need this. We need that. We got room here. Let's stick it there. Put it there. So it's kind of it's a very unique little place, actually. It's got a lot more going on than a lot of people think with the caboose room that we have behind the Depot Grill there for our smorgasbord area. We do that, run some buffets back there that have been popular. And, of course, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we used to be a truck stop. And so the portions were big. And then the trucks were, of course, rerouted with the traffic changing. So a lot of the seniors started eating in there because they like the types of foods, the casseroles, the homemade stuff that we still do. We cut our own meat and bake our own bread. We don't bake bread, but we bake all our cookies and pies and still make everything from scratch. So it's kind of those kind of places. I always search them out when I'm traveling too, Bill, because I kind of like those unique spots. I think they're fun.
It's about 8:48, and of course, I wanted to mention Steve Saran is in studio with us, and we're talking about 100 days to 100 years. That's the century anniversary for I guess that's centennial. Is a better way to put that for Depot Grill in Twin Falls. And we've got 63 right now, about 11 minutes away from 9 o'clock on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. We touched on this sense of community people get there earlier. I went there one afternoon and I met Zeb Bell for lunch. And the two of us were sitting there. Well, Zeb and his wife came along. We were all sitting there having our hamburgers and French fries. And I just started counting the number of people that kept coming over and saying hello to them. And the fact that so many people who are busy during their day, that's their hour where they just sort of decompress, if you will. And they come in there and they get to see people sometimes they haven't seen in a very long time. But if you come into town to go to the doctor, you stop there maybe afterward on your way home. It's become that tradition around town.
And that's a wonderful thing to have. You're not going to last 100 years because you've got the nicest facility or the best food. So I think a lot of that is due to the staff that we have down there because they're all very committed to what we're doing there. We've been fortunate to be able to hang on to that family feel for all these years. And you stop and think about all the people that have come before, all the people that are working there now, and all the people hopefully that work there in the future. There's about 50 of us over there, and it takes a real monumental effort. And they've been very good at it. We've been very blessed to have good staff.
The one thing when you referenced all of the expansions that have gone on, and over the years, has the public taste in what they want, has that changed, or is it still relatively stable?
Oh, it's radically changed. We're probably slower to change than most places are. We still, like I say, we still cut our own meat. We grind our own hamburger 3 times a week. We do a lot of stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense to anybody but us. We think it gets you a fresher, better product, and the people appreciate that. We don't use the preservatives or anything, but the tastes of the general public have radically changed in the last 20 years. I think the people are much more cosmopolitan now than they ever have been.
I know I grew up, in a family where everyone ate mashed potatoes, and nowadays everything's got to have all these fancy toppings on it. Can you grab your headset? I think you've got a couple of telephone callers.
Sure.
A couple of people might want to chat with you on the air while you're here. Caller, you're up next, and you're on the air at 8:51. Go ahead.
Well, the first place we ate when we came into Twin Falls, September the 16th of 1971, was the Depot Grill. And it's been a great place to eat over the years. 46 years nearly to been here. And I had a chance because of my son playing ball with one of the in back in the 80s, and Leo. I'm not sure. I think he was the father. I mean,
He was my
grandfather.
father, yeah. My
Yeah,
father.
and anyway, got a chance to get acquainted with him. He was a very interesting individual, and so I would encourage people that haven't been out to the Depot Grill recently. I just ate there not like this Friday, last Friday, I believe it was. And anyway, the quality of the food's always good. The variety is good. And I would recommend people to, if they haven't been there recently, to go out and give it a try again. And like to say, the service has always been good. The food's good and high quality. And but so I got a chance to get acquainted with some of the family there during baseball, and that was really a pleasurable experience as well.
Well, thank you very much. That's a wonderful compliment.
See, and that's the thing is people who come here. I'm not the only one. It seems to become that first place for a lot of people when they roll into town, whether they're just coming through briefly or whether they're starting to explore and see what's out there. Because it's pretty evident when you drive by that it's a restaurant.
Yeah, I can't really hide it much.
When you reference the fact that things have changed, uh, the buffet and doing something like that, that's another big part of this too, because people would come in, and I remember when I was a kid, when we went to the restaurant with my folks, you sat down, you ordered off the menu exactly a particular item, but now they like to be able to have that little bit of a choice where they can graze around, make the
Yeah,
salad and do those things.
yeah. That's turned out that we added that room on in 1962 or 64, uh, and it's became a very big part of our room. And it's now that the food allergies and such things have changed. The smorgasbord or the buffet thing type seems to work very well for people that have specific dietary needs too.
I have to admit, though, when I go out, I'm still mainly a burger and fries guy, and I would think that that's got to remain the mainstay, at least for lunch and dinner.
It's Idaho, and so it's a state law. You have to eat potatoes at least 3 times a
Yes.
day.
There are certain things, though, that never go out of style.
I do the same thing. I keep saying, I'm going to have a nice little salad. The next thing you know, I got a big pile of onion rings or French fries there. Yep, I'm guilty.
See,
Same
I
as
think I
everybody.
can make the salad at home. If I'm going to be out, I want to try the fries and have the
Yeah,
hamburger.
sure.
Or the cheeseburger. And then the cheeseburger came, and it had. I remember the first. I was surprised that it had two different types of cheese on it.
Well, that's our Depot burger. That thing sells. We sell a ton of those things. It's just remarkable. But yeah, we use two different types of cheese on it. But it's
Yeah,
fresh ground, and that I think without the preservatives in it, I think it's a good fresh hamburger. It really is.
we got about 3 minutes to go. Is there anything that I haven't mentioned that really, you think we should get into today?
Oh, I don't know. I think as far as the history of the Depot Grill goes, it's again like you. I thank you for having me over here, and it's wonderful to hear comments from that gentleman. I wish that I got his name. Thanks, Dad. But as far as the depot goes, I think the 100th year is going to be a big thing. I hope it continues on for another 100 years. I doubt if I'll be around. I know I've been there way too long as it is. I worked my first shift there in 1960 as a young kid. But the coffee cup that I brought you this morning has traveled from as far north as Homer, Alaska to Australia to Germany. I don't know what the farthest south one has been, but I've got a new print coming out. It's going to look just like that, only it's going to say 100 years of success underneath it. And we'd like to thank the Magic Valley people and all the customers that have referred us to all of their friends for all these years to make
And
it so popular.
people can stop in and pick up souvenirs.
Oh yeah, we sell those cups for $3 a piece.
Yeah, I had an old girlfriend. She came to my house one time, and I collect cups, coffee cups. I mean, I've gone places and I've collected them from restaurants, businesses, TV stations, you name it. And she said, "What are you going to do with all these?" And I said, "I'm going to keep them." She said, "Well, do you use them?" And I said, "No, they're special." She said, "Well, if you're not using them," I said, "No, I won't even let my sister would come to the house, and I wouldn't let her drink out of any of those cups because she's got butterfingers.
Yeah, you're going to drop one.
You want to keep the cup for the reason that it's got the name on it."
I had a friend that his name was Hedrick, and his dad used to be one of my best customers there for years and years and years. And he'd moved out of the area and passed away, and gosh bless him, but he sent me the coffee cup that his dad used to drink out of. I didn't have the heart to tell him that the packaging was about $23 and the cup was only $2. But I mean, that kind of thought is pretty special. And I have no idea how far south the cups have gone, but I can track them to Australia, Homer, Alaska, and Germany. So that's quite a range for a little.
And the tourists coming in from Germany then will have to look it up too.
I suppose.
And I think we're going to be doing a show sometime in November.
Yeah, we're going to have you over to the big wrap up when we draw our final stuff in November.
I'm looking forward to that.
That'll be kind of fun.
Because as I say, I drive by in the morning, and if it isn't that I had
stop
to be
in,
at work,
it's okay. Yeah.
In fact, if I got a 15-minute early start, I could probably do it because so many mornings you're driving by and you're thinking too over easy.
It won't take long.
Well, thank you again for coming by today.
Thank you for having me.
Hey,
Bill.
quickly, too, we got to point out the first, one of the things I did is after I ate there, I did look it up on the website. There is a website for people who'd like to know more.
We've got 2 websites. Both of them are under construction. One right now is Depot Grill, TwinFalls.com. And then we've got our catering brochures and stuff listed at Sorans, SORANS.com. So, yeah.
Steve Saran, I want to thank him for coming by today. And do drop in and see him at sometime soon. 8:57 coming up at 8:58. A short break and then news. Todd Eccles and Forrest Anderson will be joining us shortly on News Radio 1310, KLIX, and NewsRadio1310.com.